he's been there, done that with all the rock star stuff, and so he's just like really. And then just to be around somebody like that, and then the voice opens up, and it's like, oh my God.
Here's a question we're asking an awful lot of people we're interviewing. Who surprised you the most? And we ask because we get such great answers from people. You go in thinking something, and then you meet the person, and they're completely different. Most of the time we get pleasant answers. Sometimes we get surprising ones. Our guest is Michael Shrieve, the original drummer of Santana. Drums of Compassion is his brand new album. We'll tell you about it in just a second. So who surprised Michael Shrieve the most? Also, we're going to talk about some of his favorite drummers. That's coming up on Rock History Music. Michael Shrieve was born July 6, 1949 in San Francisco. He's an iconic drummer, best known for his groundbreaking work with the band Santana. And that career of his took off at a young age. But let's remember the amount of work you have to do to be noticed by Carlos Santana and to be on stage as one of the youngest performers at Woodstock. He was only 20. That was in 1969. This extraordinary performance at Woodstock, especially during the solo in Soul Sacrifice, is one of the most iconic moments in rock and roll history. Many call it the holy grail of drumming solos. So Shrieve was a big part of the early success of Santana, playing on their first album, simply titled Santana, and released just a few days after their performance at Woodstock in '69. And it featured the hit Evil Ways. He continued to be a big part of that band on subsequent albums, including Abraxas in 1970, which included the iconic track Black Magic Woman, originally recorded by Fleetwood Mac and written by their guitarist, Peter Green. And then their amazing version of Tito Puente's Hoy Como Va. Shreve's blend of rock, jazz, and Latin rhythms helped define the band's unique style. Shrieve stayed with Santana till the mid-1970s, playing on several more iconic albums, including Santana 3. And he stayed with them as they experimented with more jazz-influenced sounds. After leaving the band, Shrieve embarked on a very successful solo career and worked with a lot of different artists, including Stomo Yamashita's Go project. Yamashita was a pioneer in popularizing a fusion of traditional Japanese percussive music and Western progressive rock, specifically in the 60s and 70s. This band Go also featured Steve Winwood and Al Di Meola. Throughout his career, Shrieve has made major contributions to music, but always stretching the envelope. Fusion meets rock meets world music, and he's been instrumental in popularizing African drum sounds for quite a few years. His new album is called Drums of Compassion. It's a very primal drumming masterpiece, featuring the father of African drumming, Michael Olantuji, who died quite a few years ago, but his old recordings are featured on the album. Trey Gunn is also on there, as well as Airto Moreira. When it comes to drumming, you can easily say Michael Shrieve has his own lane. Who in your life that you've met surprised you the most?
Well, Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger is a really interesting character. He's, super smart and just like keeps unbelievably healthy. He's one of the hardest working people I've ever met. It's interesting to watch these kind of people. Steve Winwood is really, something. He's just so unassuming and such a, like a country lad. He's been there, done that with all the rock star stuff, and so he's just like really. And then just to be around somebody like that, and then the voice opens up, and it's like, oh my God, this is Steve Winwood. I had the same experience. I toured with an Italian singer named Zucchero in the '80s, and I recorded an album with him as well. There was a song on there that Pavarotti sang, and so we had to do the tour. Pavarotti obviously wasn't going to do that, so they got a young guy to do it, and he was with us on the bus for 3 months. Andrea Bocelli.
Right.
But, to see Andrea Bocelli like playing Stevie Wonder at soundcheck, but before he was known or famous or anything. For me, it's like, yeah, people surprise you, but it's fun to observe them and the way that they are, like somebody like Mick, for instance, like just that he would like start an idea and And I would think if I were doing that, I'd throw it out. It's so
Really?
simple, so basic. It's like, what's that, right? And but Mick knows that he's going to work it. He's going to put his voice on it, which is like, okay, open the curtains, right? And then the Rolling Stones are going to play on it, and it's going to be simple and sound freaking great, right? So, that's Carlos is the same way. He'd bring the what seemed like the stupidest, most basic idea, like a little groove thing from some tribal group in Africa, and he can see where it's going to go. And so I think that that's something that I've learned from some of these people is like trust your instincts when you're making music. Like play that idea out. Don't get rid of it so quickly. Give it some breathing room, incubate it, breathe some life into it.
Here's your like I love that piece. That
Like that one, yeah.
Jack's on there, yeah.
Yeah, Jack's on there, and I'm really proud of the drum solo I take because it's the kind of drum solo I imagine doing for a record like this, where I mean, initially the one of the things I said was no grooves on this record, no backbeats, you know. Um, and then so you do solos, but you do solos as if you're like, you know, as if you like you're fog on the river, you know. It's not all based in time and this. It's more like drums are washing over you. So there's a time going, there's a pulse going, but the way I play the solos, I'm really proud of it because it's so expressive to me. It's not like your usual drum solo, bash, bash, bash. It's more like it's a different approach. And also the piece of music, it's almost like a caravanserai vibe, you know? I mean, even like the visual is like an exodus. I see like a, a tribe of people walking down roads, like escaping one place, going to another. That's my visual thing. And that is like what the music feels like. I ended up calling Hajira, which was tough because, Joni Mitchell owns that title. But I thought, she doesn't own the word. And I really researched what it meant. And it was the perfect word for the piece of music. It's a journey, it's a personal journey, what the Hajira means. And so you're on the way to some place that is hopefully a more enlightening place. And so I just thought, okay, I'm going to use Hajira.
Who are the sinfully underrated drummers to you? Who are they?
I mean, if you're in the jazz world, you know all the jazz people, and there's a bunch of drummers from that era that maybe are not as famous as well known as they should be now. And it's probably the same in rock, of course. I mean, but everybody's had their moment, like a drummer like Dino Danelli, who's a great drummer from the Rascals. Um, Ginger Baker, I mean, I have a issue. I, I'm not so excited about Ginger Baker as everybody else is, frankly.
Why is
Um,
that?
I don't know. It just seems like really heavy, and it is heavy, and he meant it to be heavy, but it's like clumpy to me. So I just have a different taste. I mean, I like drummers like a guy named Brady Blade. I mean, his brother Brian Blade,
Mhm.
and there's beautiful young drummers out there now too. I mean, there's so many beautiful things going on musically. I think the best thing is people should just explore more. I think what I'll start doing is posting more on Facebook and stuff of things that I find interesting. I've been doing that lately. Like, I want to turn people on to some stuff, and I'll put there's this woman from Tel Aviv that I'm just a big fan of, but I posted her recently, and some people are like, "Oh man, that is so cool, thank you," and other people are like, "Interesting," interesting is not the right response, you know. But go explore, find stuff. There's so much out there.
Remember, if you want to support the channel, the income on YouTube lately has been insane. Some months are great, other months not so much. And a lot of creators are dealing with that. Some people are quitting YouTube. So if you want to support us, you want to make a donation, there's a PayPal link at the very top of the description. You can join Patreon and you will get early access to our videos. Or a swag store. We've teamed up with Teespring where you can buy Rock History music, Rock History book, or Rock History Canada t-shirts and caps and jackets. And remember, subscribe to our channel, share our videos, comment on them, and like them. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music.